Good afternoon. When it comes to injuries, the only person of note is Harrison, but I expect him to be a part of practice going into the later part of this week, so he'll be just fine. And that's the only injury of note. So that's a good feeling, going through this part of the season, just to have that one guy who, again, will be a part of practice. When it comes to this team, Atlanta, I know the head coach very well. And offensively, the two backs are two outstanding players, so we have to make sure we're on top of that. Don't know the situation with Drake. Obviously, he's a top-notch receiver, so we'll see exactly where he's at and how we have to go about defending him. The other skilled players, the tight end and the other receiver, Moon, who caught a bomb last week, we got to make sure we're on top of that. Defensively, I thought they did a really good job of really drafting these hybrid players. They could have a lot of packages. So Oberg's doing a really good job of mixing and matching these guys, right, when it comes to their different packages. So offensively, man, they're rushing the passer at a high rate. So our protection system has got to be on point. But when it just comes to us and what we've been talking about and what we talked about, I want to see our defense build on what they did last week. And listen, it was not perfect by no means, but there were some promising things in that we can build on. There are some things also that we got to get better at. So those things that I thought we did well, I want to see us make that more of a strong point for us. And the weaknesses of some of the things we did, I want to see us get better at that. When it comes to offense, it gives us another week with these two receivers who just got here, who had really 2 weeks of practice, and with Tyrod actually being our starting quarterback, gives those guys another chance to try to gel. I mean, I thought it was impressive of what those guys have been doing, not getting a chance to work together quite a bit for those guys to do what they've been doing. But we have to continue to gel with those guys. So I look forward to that. It'll be a good game. We look forward to the game, and our mindset is go out there and winning the game. So any questions?
Speaking of receivers, how close is Josh Reynolds to being?
He's close. That's my conversation with medical today to see exactly where he's at as far as starting his window.
Can you speak about some similarities and differences between Brees and Bijan?
Listen, I hate to compare players, but I can see where that comparison, really comes back. Both of those guys are really good at three-down backs for us. First off, both of those guys are really good as far as being in the backfield, being to run the ball. But then again, you can split those guys out wide and allow those guys to be a receiver for you. So, man, it is a really good comparison, But there are also some differences between those guys too, So, but I like our guy.
Does it help in some way for you guys as a defense to go against a guy like Brees, and now you're going to face Bijan that with similar,
Yeah, that's true. Again, there's a number of times in practice we have good on good. So our defense does get a chance to get with somebody somewhat similar. But, man, these two guys they have, now we have to really be on our P's and Q's because one guy, is a hammerhead, and he's a 235-pound man that does a really good job of breaking tackles, and Bijan has a little bit of everything in him. So, listen, there's going to be no surprise to these guys running the ball. I've known Kirk Cousins for a long time, played against him being in Detroit, and he's a very smart quarterback. He operates very well in play action. So, but these guys being to run the ball the way they can, we have to be very disciplined in understanding how, we got to be defend the play action passes off of that.
Grace is another player that's really helped you, especially with the run defense recently.
Yeah.
Just talk about the job that he's done this year.
Yeah, but I thought that was a really good move by our scouting department to bring somebody like that in. He's a big man. He's strong. Again, he's able to stop the run because he's been doing a good job of that. But what's been surprising, and I won't say surprising, but what he's had to tick up in his ability to rush the passer also. So we want to be able to utilize that. I'm not saying that he's Mean Joe Green or anything like that, but listen, he's been doing a really good job of being disruptive in the pass game also.
We know what Tyrod is as a quarterback. We've seen him for a lot of years. But,
Yeah.
You talked about his operation the other day. Is there something he did or some things he did that maybe you needed to see or that we haven't seen as much this year from this time?
Well, it's more or less just how he was how he controlled the whole offense, his tempo in and out of the huddle. And listen, there's a lot of credit that needs to go to him, those receivers, and the offensive line, because now you have a different quarterback, and set points are totally different at that time. So our O-line gets another week till we work with him and understand where's his set point at. Our receivers get another chance to work with him as far as him anticipating the route concepts that he's going to get the ball out to these guys. And listen, I don't, look at that and give those guys a lot of credit, just the limited amount of times they had a chance to work together and how they had a chance to go out there and make some plays. So this week is critical for us to continue to improve in that area.
Aaron, your first year in Detroit, are you at a comparable stage in your rebuilding here as it was back in Detroit your first year?
Well, I'll be honest with you, and I respect the question, but, man, I have turned the page from that a while ago. And listen, I understand how there are some comparisons because I've made comparisons. But, man, I am so locked in on what we're doing now to where, listen, I understand that it's where we're at as far as taking the time to get to where we want to get. And I've been saying this for the longest. Man, the foundation is what I'm worried about. Also trying to create as many winning situations as I can for this team. And listen, they have bought into everything that I've talked about. And I'm proud of how these guys are operating. There's no quit in them. And we know the wins haven't been a result of what we've been wanting, but I do know this. I can clearly see it. And we just have to continue to do the things that we're doing now to continue to try to get those wins.
Now that you have 11 games of tape on Membu,
Yeah.
what in particular strikes you about the way he's playing?
First off, I'm not surprised. He's been playing the way he's playing. I think he's been doing a damn good job for us. Obviously, there's some rookie things that he got to continue to clean up. But for a right tackle to come in and be put in the aisle in some of the things that we put him in situations, I thought he's been doing a hell of a job. Listen, as he continues to progress, I see him becoming a true leader of this team. He's a really quiet guy, but he's starting to open up more to his team. He's starting to open up more to me, open up more to the coaching staff. And listen, I'm glad we have that player. And there's a ton of talent there that's still untapped that we want to get out of that player. So looking forward to see him progress as the year goes.
You're going to give me a dirty look on this one.
I know I've already been giving you a dirty look, so because I knew it was coming.
With the record where it is at
Yep.
this point in the season, there's some people in your fan base that will look at it and go, they're better off losing these games because they're going to draft pick.
Yeah.
Why is that not the case?
I'm going to give you a line that you guys heard before. You play the game to win. And listen, it's just not in a coach or player's mentality to go out there and lose games. It's just not, we're not built that way. We're built to go out there and play as hard as we can to try to get as many wins as we can. And then we let everything else take care of itself as far as draft and all that. But anytime we step on the grass, we're trying to improve. And anytime we go into games, we're trying to see what we did in practice, man, can we make sure that transition out on the field and hopefully that create wins for us. So, listen, there are some long-term goals that we have because we have to have a blueprint. We have to have a vision of where we're going. But, man, we're in the now of trying to get things done now. So, never get that mixed up with how we're doing. I know I talk about foundation a lot. I know I talk about vision a lot. But, man, the now is what we're trying to make sure we create as long as we can see that vision.
Are the wins now an important part of that foundation as well?
Wins are always important. Like I said, we're always trying to win, but we also understand that there's a foundation we're trying to build. We've been building that since OTAs up to now.
Aaron, where do you think you've made the biggest strides in your growth as a head coach?
Good question. Man, there are so many different situations that come along in a season, as far as game management, as far as making decisions on active, inactive players like that. But the game management part is where I think I've improved the most. And that's still ongoing. I continue to look at every situation throughout the league, and I see, some head coaches operate a certain way, then I put myself in that situation. How would I do that? And it's so people have so many different opinions to where Listen, there's not a right or wrong. You know, it's just, man, this is how I would do that. And I've become confident in my thought process on this is the right way to do it as far as what we're doing in that situation, the players that we have, and how do I continue to put those guys in situations to be successful.
Thanks, everybody.
All right.